Rockies.
The elephant Calvin. Yeah.
Beautiful pine trees.
Approaching the Canadian Rockies here. I don't know what the date is because I'm really out of touch with everything, but there's Lisa's car right in front of us.
It's April.
That's a pretty mountain right there.
It's probably April 13th.
Ooh, that's a pretty mountain. Oh.
I hope I got the camera pointed in the right direction. I'm driving. Yeah, we're looking up at the mountains, and the car's driving by. That was a great shot, yeah. Okay, we're getting into an elevator. Everybody in the elevator say hi.
Oh, hi. Are you going to come with us? Come on, hurry up before
It looks like a glass elevator of sorts.
I don't think we're going to see very much though.
Oh, let's see. Concrete.
Oh, lovely.
Look at that. Look at that. We don't have concrete like that in America. Walking down the street in Banff. Look at that mountain peak. These are gorgeous mountain peaks.
And in fact, anywhere on the ski hills and stuff, when you want to go in here, you can go in here. Anytime you're up at the ski hills and
Abigail.
come here, Alan.
Here, hold that for a second. It's playing right now.
All right. Hey guys, you having fun? Here we are in Banff.
Hey, Alice, we need to see you.
Okay. Everybody say hi. Alice, turn around. What's the name of the hotel?
Banff Springs.
This is the Banff Springs Hotel. Wow. This is the Stanley wing of the Banff Springs Hotel. Walking around here.
Help. Yep. Whoa.
Inside the hotel here.
This is so-called the 17th floor. Down and up.
Well, the first floor must be way down there.
Yeah, we're up pretty high.
Under the ground.
Okay, we're going up this mountain.
Now,
Going up to the tippy top.
I'm flying, I'm flying, I'm flying. I'm flying. I'm gliding.
Okay.
And I highly doubt that I'm gonna drop him.
Use your sugar, use your money. Use your pen. I'd hang on tighter.
Whoa, we're almost same size as them. Wow.
So what? I really don't feel
Look at
I feel like I'm actually on TV.
Whoa!
We're climbing up the mountain.
Look at that. Hello.
There's the hotel we were just down at.
Hey, hotel. You think that you're conquering
crow's
everybody?
nest.
Well, too bad, because we're a lot higher than you are. Woo!
Thanks for the commentary, Sharna.
Wow, we're almost taller than the tallest tree.
Real tight.
There's the town of Banff.
Ah!
There's Charlie's hand.
Whoa. Yeah. Pretty cool, huh, Corey?
Right, Abby was. Neat, eh?
Yeah.
The girls were excited. Every time we passed someone, they had to wave. Oh, nobody's in there. Okay, next one. Oh, somebody's in there.
Okay, we're at the top of the world and it's snowing up here.
I'm on top of the world! Yeah, it does feel like we're at the top of the world. Yeah, it does feel like we're at the top of the world. Right? Come on, Corey.
Oh, got that on film. Good shot, Bob. Another view of the mountains here. On top of the world.
Top of the mountain.
Look,
You can see Lake Minnewanka.
that's someone's footprint.
Lake Minnewanka.
Don't
Abby,
go too far to
what
the
are you
edge, guys.
doing?
Carla, don't go too far.
So that's a lake through there, that big
Yeah.
white patch.
Yep.
Lake Minnewanka.
Now
what
say
it's
that
called.
10 times real fast.
Yeah.
I think it's
You don't want to.
I think it means spirits or spirit lakes or something like that.
Yeah, it's probably.
Both.
Here we are hiking up these stairs. What you got there, and show it to the camera. Hold it up.
I'm taking this dead branch with fungi in it to my science class back in Utah because we're studying fungi and beasties.
All right.
No. The sun came out for a little while. No.
I know. Well, it's kind of sunny, but it's snowing.
How do you like that?
Kind of strange.
See, in
not
the
that
trees at this
strange.
elevation, they grow so narrow. That way,
They
sur-
get exposure to the sun.
they survive the snow. I mean, if the branches are big and long, then they get busted off. These little, very, very short branches don't collect much weight on the snow.
You guys are heading off already? Hey,
We've done this before.
I think so. Deja vu.
There's a restaurant. And then we'll go down to the hot pool. And we'll all Right?
Are those trees big just the snow buried them?
Yeah, partly. They grow really slow because it's so cold up here.
Yeah.
Right down, there's the river comes along and right where the creek comes in.
Yeah.
Just a little bit upstream of that is called Bow Falls, and it's a big waterfall there,
Oh.
which is really neat to see in like when the water's running in the spring.
Right.
Yeah, it is. We're up in the clouds.
Yeah, we really are.
What, this? No. Right up on the very top.
'Cause we can't see anything that way. Snow. Okay, it's April 18th, I think. Ann had a birthday a few days ago, but today, wait, that's not Ann, that's Joey. Okay, today we're going to sing happy birthday to Ann, and it looks like the batteries are about out.
You gotta get it from this side too, because it's the awesome, awesome cake.
Okay, there's Ann,
Awesome it is.
12 years old now.
Daddy, hi!
There's Alice, 3.
Play rock!
Okay.
Hey, can I get the candles?
No.
I mean, not the candles.
And gets to hide.
Yes.
We were just at the bowling alley.
He's gonna go.
Where'd you get sparklers?
Had them since last year.
Okay, we have a volcano
And wants
cake.
to light them.
Only me.
Okay.
Mom?
Okay, here.
Yeah, she has her. Those are weird matches. Turn off the light.
Don't do those first, do the candles first. And I think you should let her help you. This one now. Light the ones furthest away first.
Like that. Ouch!
That's why you light the ones furthest away first.
And.
So concerned with Charlotte being burned that I'm about to get.
Wait, and. Hopefully you won't burn yourself. I think we need a lighter.
No, it's fine.
Whoa!
It's kind of cool.
Okay, let's see if we can get these to all blow out.
Kind of cool.
Wow, what a birthday cake. Ready? And
Hold on.
Happy birthday
to you. Happy birthday to
Give her
you.
Joey in.
Happy birthday, dear Ann. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, Abby.
Hurry! The sparklers are running out.
Yeah, you gotta make a wish before the sparklers are out.
Did I get all of them?
Yep.
I think none of them will light back up.
That's
So-
an awesome cake.
Sparklers!
What do you suppose that added to the cake to have sparklers going like that? We
Lots
might,
of good minerals.
we
It's
might
a
find a little
volcano.
sulfur taste to
Fire.
that.
An extra burnt smell.
Kinda hot.
An extra
Okay.
burnt smell.
So we just went to the bowling alley, and now there's this.
Should we take
And
the candles out?
Ann went
Yeah.
to
See,
Young
there's a
Women for the
fireball
first time on Wednesday already. And we went to Canada last week, and cool.
And
Move out of the way for Move out of the way for the
the
camera.
sparklers
Oh, what, the camera's still?
very cool.
That was awesome.
Mm.
Yep.
Really awesome.
Volcano cake.
That for my
Going.
Things like that, Paul.
Hi, Cheryl. Oh, what are we taping for?
Thoughts?
Just for a memory?
Go ahead, ask me my thoughts.
What's your thoughts, Artie? I don't think you want it on camera.
I'm rather thoughtless, actually. I don't.
Topic.
Dad! No, kids.
Say hi, John.
Hi, John.
Wow, that's good. Say, Polly want a cracker.
Are you just videotaping for kids? Yeah. Hello, Lynette. And Vicky.
I gotta get one first.
Oh, I'm making my own. You have in the house now, huh? A job. So
Great to see you.
Nice to
Seeing me is it really as fun as seeing you.
Love that. It's nice.
So is that why you moved?
So what do you say?
Yeah.
And ran back towards my family with the kids.
No, Mary Beth and I were chit-chatting about that in the foyer. She said, hi, Mom. Who has that?
I don't want to read it.
Mark called me and that's
I
Well-
heard that there might be one from. Who did I hear from?
didn't know
Well,
anything.
for-
We just decided, let's go see
I heard from somebody
For us,
coming to your house.
Well, guys just happened because I was hoping he had a book I wanted to read and he didn't have it. I said, by the way, we're up at Mom's if you guys want to come
What
up.
book? What book?
for us, it started when Alice said she said she wanted to go to Nora's house.
I want to go to Nora. She's my favorite cousin coming.
My dad is trying to sell everyone on the book 1491.
We call them up. When is
Where are you guys going,
the year
Austin?
before
We went over to her
Columbus
house and then
came?
she said, we're going
And
over to
what,
Marcio's
the
house.
preparation for Columbus, is that what it's all about?
I'm not really sure.
We went to Mom's grave on Memorial Day. We saw that you had already been there. At least we guessed it was you.
It was
Was
us,
there only
actually.
one flower?
Well,
There were
they
Oh, okay.
went before I did, and I and
We
and
went
Sarah
and we
and
added to
Mary
it.
Beth and Kent. We always go,
Right.
and then we always go visit everyone else's graves. We go see Justin's family.
Well,
We
we
go
took
see
care of that on
Kent's
Sunday
family.
because you get free
Did you
pop
get
at,
flower?
One Cemetery.
Oh yeah.
So we went.
They pull out the pop
We went last of all. It was like
It was
6
late.
in
We
the
had
evening
a
or
family
something.
night, so several of us had been there
Yeah.
and left
Well, good that you went.
numbers.
Yeah, it's good that we found it.
I want you to show me, Mom, where Polly person is.
It's very
Polly
easy
and Barber
because
and
Polly-
Alfred Bosworth.
it's a
Polly person.
nice Polly Barber.
Polly Child's mother.
Bosworth Child.
No, her
Grandmother's
grandmother.
last name really was Person.
Yeah? Probably doesn't happen
Polly
a lot.
Person.
Is she older by chance?
Earrings.
I don't know what she's
No,
Beverly missing?
Polly Sarepta
Okay,
Child. Her mother's
okay.
name was
show up in
Sarah Sarepta, and Sarah's mother's name was Polly.
They left no
That's like
one
an
here.
aunt.
Oh, Michael Erickson.
This isn't a little girl anymore.
Wait a second.
Not my brother-in-law.
We have a Michael Erickson.
Oh, do you? So I
Sure.
thought that was kind
Our stake was reorganized.
Don't throw it. That one doesn't bounce. It,
Yeah.
Split two and made a new one?
Yeah, we had two stakes were, splintered, and we have a third. Yeah. So we had
We just
Jeffrey.
went through that, actually.
Did you? We had Jeffrey Holland
Cool.
there. It was really awesome.
Frank wasn't called a stake president.
No.
Maybe next time.
But Jeffrey Holland was there and
Really?
he spoke and it was
Oh.
amazing.
I always loved Elder Holland.
Sawyer.
When I was at BYU and he was there as the president most of the time, I just loved listening to him talk.
Yeah.
So powerful.
Thank you.
He talked.
What did he talk about?
He talked
Did I
most.
dismiss what you just
He
said?
talked to all of his. Well, he gave an apostolic blessing at the end, which was really, really lovely. Because that's like an action. That's like a blessing, a hands-on blessing to everyone who's there. That's cool.
said that. He said, I leave a blessing as though I laid my hands upon you.
No,
Yeah.
she's just taking him out.
Cool. And he spoke to the youth, and he asked them to make a tithe of the 10 years that they're in right now, assuming that everyone is a century.
My new phone.
Give a
so they'll
tithe
ring
of their,
longer,
just give these 10 years to the
usually
Lord, because they
can't
keep
make
them
it
out
to
of
the phone
trouble,
unless I'm
the youth.
carrying it.
Because that's the big years, you know, when
Yeah.
you decide who you're
Yeah.
marrying and
Yeah.
who your friend, you know, what you're going
If I have to
to do.
do it on wherever.
I don't know if I'm getting her or
So
not.
he
Where's the answer?
said that, and then
By the computer.
he said,
He pointed his finger. Well, so the tithe of their lives that he wanted was between the ages of 12 and 22.
or wherever they were, if as
you
you
love how he
14 and
puts things?
24.
I love how
Yeah.
he puts things.
What?
And then
Elder Holland was at their state conference today.
Okay, what was 12 between 12 and 22?
He wanted a tithe of their lives, and
to give for them to give the next 10 years of their lives to the Lord,
Who did he say that to?
to the
The
youth.
youth.
He was specifically addressing the youth.
which would keep them out of trouble if you think about it.
And
For at
then he-
least 10 years.
Well, he said by the time you're
You just
23,
got
you
this.
won't want to know. You won't. If
Just one or how
You
many?
don't care about what you
You say
miss.
they're in trouble for the next 10 years. You
Yeah,
don't
if
want
you're,
to
yeah,
get
if you
into
haven't
trouble.
given your life to the Lord at that point, you won't want to hear what I have to say anyway.
On top of the computer.
Then he pointed his finger at them and he said, "Don't you dare."
He raised his voice.
He raised his voice. He was
You have 28
emphatic.
minutes.
Don't you, and he repeated it again, don't you dare leave this church.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And he said, if you do, you do it at peril of your eternal soul. He did, and then he lightened up, and it was really sweet, but he didn't take it back.
Elder Holland was apparently
Yeah.
talking to somebody's steak. Linnaeus.
And she was there.
And 2 other states.
He said if he could come up with a
Well, how do you
theme
turn the
for
volume
the
up
youth
for
of the
one?
church, it would be don't do something
Put it
stupid.
on the red.
Can you put that on the back?
Well, that's so true. If you just don't do the stupid things, you know the minor stupid things, you're okay with. I mean,
And that's why he said you should not dare to leave the church because you'll do something stupid.
I remember the group of kids that I ran around with in high school. We did some stupid things, as you know, teenagers will do, but we didn't do the morally stupid things and the word of wisdom stupid things and those stupid things that would pull us out of the church.
They spent toilet paper
You just
in
did criminal stupid things.
Yeah. My friends would drive down the freeway 100 miles an hour and, you know,
Do you ever
TP.
crawl across the top of the car while the car was going and switch drivers?
No. Okay. Time for confession. Okay.
I'm not going to say anything because Peter might listen to this.
You already said something.
Because
You did that really?
I can't hear him.
Well, the car's still moving even. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's good. We were really good.
Spider Woman.
It's actually, they're bred to be water dogs.
They were.
Did you know that? They're bred to be water retrievers. Yeah, it's bred to be water.
I guess all dogs.
Go get the bird in the water, dog.
Kendall. Where is Nora? Do you know where Nora is?
Go find her.
Introduce
her.
Probably all
save
the
her?
actually to find food or
Actually, a
for
breed
food.
out there called a curly-coated retriever. They look a lot like a Labradoodle. They look like a Labrador.
Keep panning back and forth, trying to catch people when they're saying something. They start talking, and I move the camera to them, and then they're stopped, and I gotta go back to somebody else.
There's a dog
Are you
called
making a movie?
It looks like the black goat.
Justin!
Don't you guys remember? Do any of you guys remember when I got off my mission and I walked around with a tape recorder taping people? None of you guys remember? I've got Leah on tape. Yes.
Have you put those on CDs?
Profound.
I can't. I went around when we were building the log house. You guys remember when we were building the log house in St. George?
That was a painful, awkward time for me. So I don't remember.
Do you
anything.
have
It was
those?
a painful, awkward time for you? Oh, tell us more.
Adolescence. Totally.
Artie, do you still have those?
Oh, Sarah, yeah. You know, I'm making
so
this.
now I feel
I'm
like
making this
something's really
tape,
wrong with me.
and
And I'm sure
Sarah.
I messed it up somehow. Yeah.
Sarah messed. That's right, you did. You remember that?
No. What did I do?
I had this. I went around with the tape recorder. Marcielle, do you remember? I went around with a tape recorder when we were building Mom and Dad's log house, and I was tape recording everybody.
When it's playing, you can hit the erase
Kind of like what
button.
I'm doing here, but with a tape recorder. And Sarah took the tape recorder,
dear.
and she went off and was just talking in it. And you hear me? Yes, and you hear me in the background. Hey, what are you doing with my tape recorder?
Oh, that's what I was gonna do.
And then smack you as it's being turned off quickly.
How do you know it was me? Did I tell?
Oh yes, it was you. You identified yourself.
I wasn't very smart, was I?
But I just went, and I do remember that I talked to Lee, and I remember you, because you were like following me around as I was taping people, always chiming in the background.
Well, I would love to hear
2
him.
days in a row.
I know.
Wow.
Did you hear him tell you?
Did you stay the night? Did he stay the night?
God, I'm holy.
We're all
He
holy.
stayed 2 nights.
As a cow.
Wow.
He stayed 2
You
nights.
do look like one.
And he's drinking my son.
So Artie, have you transferred it onto CDs yet?
No, it's somewhere in a box.
Well, they'll get them and we'll put them on CDs for you if you don't want to.
Would you?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember.
We don't have good.
Whenever I try to listen to those tapes, nobody else wants to listen to it. They all start walking out of the room.
We'll do
You
it.
have good equipment to do that?
Yeah, we do. We can do that.
Oh, that'd be great.
Okay, I'll find some. I've made several. I made some on my mission. I made.
His posterity tapes.
I'm
Yeah,
working
for my
on John's
mission now that you
slides
mention
right
it.
now.
yeah.
When Dad passed away, we had one of those reel-to-reels
I sent tapes.
that Rachel took and had somebody transfer onto CDs for us. And it has us and Aunt Beverly and Compton's and stuff on them. It's fun.
Yeah, you would have been just. How old would you have been there, Sarah?
What year
Like
was that?
it would have been 83.
I would have been 8.
Were you that young?
I was born in 75. Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember how old you were. I was thinking maybe you were 12, but you were younger than that.
Birthday's in October.
afraid to
come back. Was that summer?
They don't have any feathers.
7. What I remember about that house is Charles said you were living in the basement. It's the first time I watched Gandhi. Well, you want me to go into Gandhi? Well, there was a bunch of kids, and we all there and we were watching Gandhi.
We're right here. All the littler ones.
What a pretty dress. You have a dress for every occasion.
Hello, Mary Beth. Well, Nola's here. Is your parents here? They just left Nola here?
We're fighting over
We'll get some background check stuff.
Eric, I think
Let's
you
not
guys
play
should
with that
sing.
mud.
Make sure I'm not a
Sing that
terrorist.
song I heard today that I was trying to do. Bind me not
What?
to the pasture, chain me not to the plow. Sing that. Will you sing for us?
Yes, go get Austin.
Sing a song for those because we were just barely singing for a second.
Austin, are you going to sing us a song too with Eric?
Where's Chad?
I think you should.
Sing at flags or something.
Yeah, hi, Chloe.
Glad you got the hint.
Eric, is your mom playing over yet?
Please? Are you certain of that?
Hopefully they take more money than they pay, right?
What do you call her?
So what is that baby do? What's where's your page? Right now.
November.
Yeah, I'm feeling fine. I'm tired, but I don't ever sleep well with everybody.
Sleep well at night. Just don't sleep
Who are you looking for, Joseph?
when I'm pregnant.
Mary Beth, where's Joseph?
But I've been renovating my basement.
Oh, he's coming, no fear. He's going to
I'm renovating my basement.
Mario's
My front room.
My little tripod right here.
Turning out pretty basement. It's real pretty ground.
Not that I'm aware of anyway.
My project for the last month and a half.
Well, I've already had time to check out Emily Warren. Who is this?
Our brains can filter out conversations we don't want to listen to, but I don't think the tape recorder can filter it out. And so I think it's just going to be a lot of overwhelming.
Lydia's husband helped her.
But she
But I give in to you. Yeah.
Have you taken your daughter just around back and forth up and
What's Daddy got?
Oh, Corey, don't fall down the stairs! Yay for Chad!
Why did you give me that weird look when I asked her if she was?
Yeah. Anyway, so I guess I won't know what this baby is until he's born. I think it's a boy.
I don't know.
Hey.
Well, I don't know what it looked like.
Ride him, cowboy.
Are you sensitive to weird words?
Yeah, it's a big dog, huh?
Man, just don't even
Thanks for
care.
coming today.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thanks for coming today.
Go
Nice to see you again. Nice to see you again. Thanks for coming.
Hey.
Thanks for coming.
What's up? So who are those mysterious people dropping you off at the church parking lot today?
Hey, hey.
Well, you know,
Chad is an SOB.
Shut you out. And
What is that?
A son of a bishop. That's what he just told me.
I went to a farewell, so.
So he's got to shake hands.
When you put your papers in, Chad.
He's got his papers.
When you put your papers in.
July 24th.
Really?
Have you been working on it?
Nice day. No, I haven't even started.
There's a deal for wisdom teeth in that Hometown Values.
No, really? Taken out for free.
There is. You know, no, he specializes in wisdom.
You can get a new set of false teeth for your mission.
Get two out, get one free.
Dr. Frower, Mary Beth Frower. They're good people.
Not Fowler?
No.
Oh, yeah. Definitely not that.
I don't know the Frowers.
Dude, I'm just
I know the Frowers.
I just have to make sure that he takes our insurance.
Well, they supposedly have a deal for wisdom teeth. He's an oral
Yeah,
surgeon.
from what I don't know.
To get you to get into his office. You know, everybody's got to have those out sometimes.
He's a wise guy.
Maybe a alley dentist, but Sarah doesn't.
We saw somebody in the temple the other night. The guy at the door, and his last name was Fowers, but he didn't.
He didn't know you, but the lady who was standing right next to him, the greeter lady, she said, I've known Mary Beth since she was a Barney. I don't remember her name.
What you need to do is ask their workers.
Yeah.
Just ask if they know Kent Fowler's the engineer. They don't know him because they're related, but everybody knows him. And on the temple?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody there. Usually, unless they're like volunteers that have been here.
I just thought that was funny because we were describing who you were to the guy at the desk, and then we walked.
What was that?
I wonder who that was.
I don't know.
There's a lot of Fowers from Hooper that were related.
I'm glad you're comfortable enough with me to touch my knee.
Well, everybody thinks that we're related to Compton's and Brigham. I don't think we are.
Pioneer.
Now I'm worried I'll leave something out.
Okay, tell us.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were caught in the act of rowing about with 2 Corinthians while galloping efficiently around the flippin' Colosseum. This will never do, this will never do. He's too mouthy and tight for us. He'll never fill a man with anything Hebrews. James tried it. Peter tried it twice. John tried it 3 times. By Jude, it'll take a revelation.
Way to go!
So that was his dad's?
Yeah, that's awesome.
I forgot all about that. That's great.
That's how you
remember, right?
The Bible.
I get it by the song.
Matthew, Mark.
Oh, I like that.
I think Grandpa's way better.
is much funner.
Yeah, I think it's more free.
More original.
Have you ever seen
Anyway.
his perpetual calendar?
I haven't seen it.
Do you still have that? You should show it.
That's not a stage.
I know. Well,
You can
it's
dance.
probably in the corner cabinet.
It's where I dance as often as I can.
Yeah. Is that why the scratches?
Tables in general.
Oh, there's tables in there.
Yeah.
So when did your mom and dad get out on their way?
Sometime after
After
2:30.
church, yeah, we ate and they.
Probably 3 something.
Just doing what
Was it as late as 3?
Probably, because we left at 2:45.
Corey,
Yeah.
how old are you? Are you the same age as Sawyer?
She'll be 2 in August.
Yeah, you're only like, because there was a bunch of us pregnant at the last reunion.
Hi. Hi.
They're about 2 weeks apart.
Yeah. See your friend. Daddy. There's Daddy. So you can say all the names of everybody in our family except for Peter's. She goes, oh, I won't tell you, because Peter will get really mad. It's either BB or starts with a P on those.
That's a naughty word.
For a 14-year-old, that's really, really embarrassing.
Go call Peter in for dinner, okay?
Is Peter going to be a sophomore or a freshman?
He'll be a freshman.
9th grade.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
He's discovered he really likes girls. He is more of a.
Is yours Twilight?
I don't know. I was afraid of guys when I was 14.
I was terrified of girls when I was 14.
And I don't know where Peter got what he has, but he sure is different than we were. My brothers, maybe my brothers. They were girl magnets. Oh my goodness, he's a girl magnet. He has so many girls around.
Really?
And they all come over to our house. The other day there were 5 girls and there was one guy who was a friend too.
It's good ratio.
As long as it's always 5.
Yeah, 5 is good.
Well, if you have 5 guys and 1 girl.
It baffles me.
Sounds like you're pushing a little button on a doll or something.
They're all 9th graders last year too, so they're all a year older than all the 5 that were over there. Anyway. Well, one of them was 8th.
There was a girl from Brigham City that was after me.
I think it's because he's a big flirt and knows exactly what to say.
Does he compliment them?
Yes. And he doesn't admit. I mean, he isn't afraid to admit that he likes them and he enjoys their attention and that they're pretty. You know, he lets them know.
Wow.
How did I meet her? Working
He
at
is.
Cherry
He's a
Point.
really good kid.
Who was that? Was that Mindy?
No.
Oh no, Mindy was from Roy.
Green, Natalie Green.
No.
She was in.
I thought.
She was the very first maid I ever had.
Rich, lay down.
She was in the old seminary program, the old Not of This World.
He's trying to figure out how to mount.
Like slideshows. Remember
How to
those
mount
Not of
that
This World
Prince dog.
slideshows? Slideshows.
I
Did you guys watch those this
Yes, Leah, remember the
I don't
Not of This
remember.
World.
Not
She
of
was
this
one
world.
of the characters in
No,
those.
that came after me.
Yeah. She.
Not Natalie Bishop.
No.
Okay, Natalie Green.
I know.
She was not a friend of
I went out
yours.
with her a couple of
Natalie Bishop was.
Have you ever kissed a girl? Wait a minute, we have to talk about this because they would just go and kiss him. Anyway, this one time we had teachers like I haven't picked the volunteers because I hate to because I feel bad that I can't pick everyone. So this teacher picked a boy, but then another prince came up with him because he thought he was pointed at.
Oh.
So we had the 2 princes. And when I came to the kissing part, the one of them was like, "I'm not kissing her," and the other was like, "I'll do it." And sometimes the girls will just, anyway, they'll cover their mouths.
That's funny.
It's elementary, so anywhere from kindergarten up to 5th grade. And I have a Hershey's kiss, and I always, have to say, "So have you ever kissed a girl?" And then I always get really interesting responses.
Mom.
Yeah, that one. So I hide the kiss, and I tell them, "Well, this is an
You leave it alone."
special instruction." And so I show them the kiss. I'm like, "You're gonna make everyone think you're really gonna do this, and it'll be so funny." And I'm like, "Then just set this on her lips." And so the kids will just be leaning forward to see, the kiss, and they put the little Hershey's
Oh, that's
kiss
cute.
on.
That's a good idea.
But they always want to know, well, is she gonna hit him?
Because if you touch
She
that
can't hit him. It's just in the book. It's like,
Yeah, just have one of those water weedy things and have.
I just
Bop
the
with
hit.
that.
The hit was just because it was random and because I just was thinking it'd be kind of funny to reverse it. Now she has to wake him up.
Oh yeah, I think that's.
I don't think through my.
I
invited her over here
for.
I think
that's good.
I was just pulling out my shocking me. How about you? How are you doing?
I like putting a dog and a
I
cat
just
together.
resurrected
You
it
can't do
after. Well, I
Can't
just
do it.
sent in my Rhyme Book of Mormon again. I changed the name. I changed it mostly because one of the people I sent it to was Cedar Fort.
Was what?
Cedar Fort.
Oh.
And when I was trying to publish that one of the reasons that Granite decided to drop publishing my Rhyme Book of Mormon was because Cedar Fort had a Rhyme Book of Mormon series that fell flat. And it was just one story at a time, and the poetry wasn't good, and the illustrations weren't as good as mine. But it fell flat, and then it was 9/11, and so they said we can't do it. So I changed the name so it wasn't the Rhyme Book of Mormon, so that Cedar Fort wouldn't have bad vibes with it. But
So
I
you
don't know, we'll
just
see.
recently said that and you're waiting.
Yeah.
Don't go to
I-
the
love that
back
waiting
gate.
period.
Don't open that gate.
I know, it's a long time, but I have so many other
She
things.
asked your mom how
I mean, that's been on the back burner for so long. 'Cause I know I have talent in that, but there's so many other things. I mean, I started to practice, and I know I'm supposed to pay attention to that. And right now I'm renovating my house, and you know, it's hard to find time to illustrate. It's hard to find time to just have fun. Yeah. And Peter's always on the computer.
That's why you're doing that, which is why
I guess I have to sign up for computer
Might
club.
want to check that game.
Well, the teenagers went up on the
Every teenager. We'll follow shit.
Is it open, Eric?
No.
Now, when we had a bungee cord on
It
it,
has the bungee cord, that's what Tanya's talking about.
is it shut?
The bungee cord's still attached, but I don't think that it's lashed. They can just pull it wide.
Okay,
pull it
well, we
apart.
need to fix that and tell the teenagers, get up there some other way, but not through that.
But Leo,
So we don't
Really?
want, so we don't want kids up there.
There's a canal up there.
There's a what?
A canal.
Okay, so you don't
It
want your
doesn't
kids up there.
work with Amelia's dog, and that might be how he got out.
Did you tell this Rick guy that you were married to
When
Leo?
I came home,
There's too many
they undid the bungee cord and pulled up the thing.
The John and sister.
His family was from there.
She's talking about a boy she used to date.
So when we came to,
Is she really?
tried to go into the MTC. That was better looking. It hadn't been set apart yet.
She said
So he
danced
called
with
me,
him
he
as a
looked at
chat,
me, wanted to come
Mark
see
was
me.
just saying
Well, I didn't know when he
that
was
he
gonna
couldn't
come
remember
over,
looking,
and
but
he
he
happened
was
to
on his
drop
mission. There
in
was a
while
guy
Mitch was
who
there.
knew about her, and he was
So
very happy.
it was,
And she said,
then it became like this waiting game to see
now
which
she's
one
telling
was
the
gonna
story.
go first, because Eric just like made himself comfortable. This was at my apartment, and Mitch was looking at me like, "Who is this guy, and how long is he gonna be here?" And I wasn't sure what to do with either one of them. Like, okay, you both can go. I don't know, just so we're just all sitting there looking at each other seriously. I'm not even kidding. And my roommates are looking around like, "What's going on here?" And so Mitch was, he's not a real patient man. He's like, he gave it like a half an hour. He's like, I gotta go. So I was like, dang, because I was liking Mitch, but Erica wasn't so much. So he's like, I gotta go. So he walks to the door. He's like, oh, wait a minute, I have to tell you something. so I opened the door and I said, I'll be right back. And I shut the door and I was like, let's go. And you can't just leave. I'm like, I'm leaving. And I ran to his truck and I jumped in and I shut the door and he's looking at me. He followed me out down the stairs in the parking lot. He's standing there looking at me in his truck and I was like, let's go. And he's like, no, you can't just do that. I was like, I'm sitting here until you take me. So we drove. So we drove on.
This guy wasn't very pleased.
It was so mean, but I didn't know. It seemed like the easiest resolution to have. So I called Karina was there. So I called her from Mitch's place and I said, will you tell Eric that Mitch is really mad because he's there, so I have to work this out with him.
What a conniver.
Would I have ever had a conversation with him about you, though? Why would that have ever come up? Why
Because
would
it's probably all he ever talked about.
I've ever even have connected any of those dots.
Pictures
Yes, it
or
was on my
something.
mission.
Let's put down a picture. Did you ever write him a letter on his
Probably had to do with our
Mark.
No, mean. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But
I prayed for him.
Why in the world? He must have said he was from. He probably said he was from. He probably said he was from someplace in Oregon or something. I knew you were out there, and that was probably.
That happened to me on my mission, but with the other Wilsons, the Karina and the Heather.
You did?
Really?
You talked to
Some of
people who
them
knew
knew them?
Karina?
Yeah.
Where did you serve?
I'm in South Korea. And one of the guys in the district that I served in, Wilson's from Rex.
Wow, you Wilson.
Hey, I think I dated 5 boys in my life, so I was one of them.
I didn't serve my mission with anybody either.
That's funny. But I really wish that we could see Karina more.
Every one of my mission areas except for one, I ran into people that knew my mom and dad.
Really?
You started in an area
I was
where
in-
they lived at one point, right?
It was in North Carolina, but I was all over the state. And people that had lived where they lived had kind of, they didn't all stay put. And one of the areas was the same ward that they had lived in, and about half the ward was the same.
Artie's pretty famous.
Cool.
I mean, when I told people that I was married Artie Compton, there were a few families in my ward in Virginia.
Really? All up and down the eastern
He said, "Oh, there was that family with lots of kids and Alden and Arden and."
There's this guy in the MTC that when I saw him from across the way, whatever the way it was, and I saw his red hair and his ears kind of sticking out a little like this, I'm like, that's a Compton. We walk in closer to each other. Sure enough, his name tag said Comptonite.
Who was it?
I talked to you. Remember me talking to you, writing to you about him and talking about him, and we tried to figure out, and he was somewhere related to the family back where. I don't know, but he looked so much like you. It was amazing.
Long lost cousin.
I have no idea who you're talking about.
It's the other Artie Compton.
Oh, was that right?
The other one.
I need a tripod right
You've
here.
been fun filming this whole time?
No, every once in a while I have it off and I think,
Now set John off. Let's see what John does now that he knows he's being filmed.
You're on camera.
I just get in the back of my head, the bald spots. I'm sorry.
Oh,
you
can name it the front bald spots if you want. Artie, do you have a hard time staying awake up on the stand?
He's not on the stand anymore.
yeah, I'm not on the stand anymore, but I did a few times. Yeah, there's a few times I nodded.
I
And
don't understand that because that was the
Every
most...
single
Oh, I
Sunday.
guess
Well, when the
he-
bishopric has to have a 6:30 meeting, and Kent does, he fights us.
Those are the most comfortable chairs.
those are very comfortable chairs, and there's no kids pulling on your ears. And
No mom's
He
handing you
doesn't
the
fall
baby.
asleep now that he's with me.
snacks.
Yeah, you have to have some munchies so you stay awake.
During the restroom,
I want to
during the restroom, Artie gets out his snack bag.
Cheerios,
fruit snacks, and Cheerios.
He's terrible. He's getting really bad.
Get one of the,
Just not getting enough sleep.
And you know, very bad. You need a little girl like Alice to say, "Go up and
sit on Daddy's lap."
When I was in the bishopric in Missouri, very often Abigail would come sit on my lap to help keep me awake. Yeah.
That day that Tucker was on his lap, Tucker fell asleep and he stayed awake.
Well, today the speaker actually turned around and he was talking about on Bishop Bowers, and Kent was.
I didn't see that.
The best bit, one of our very best bit, well, we've had great bishops, but one that I love, remember Brent Hartley?
Oh, yeah.
He was never awake. He was just never awake. He was always asleep. But he was such a good bishop, good man. Yep.
I would be fidgeting in my chair.
Well, I feel really bad for him because I know he's fighting it the whole time, but it is just overwhelming to him.
How long?
Embarrassing to you, Mary.
He must be close to ending his term there.
And obviously 4 years.
Oh, really? I was thinking it'd been longer than that.
No, and Uncle Danny
Lean
said,
over, sit
he
back,
said,
slouch in
there
the
is no
seat.
tenure.
Yeah.
He said that is false doctrine, reads around. But
yeah,
in Utah, they kind of.
But there's an average.
Averages, but he could be in there as long as they want him to.
Yeah.
Just be glad it's not like 100 years ago when you would
Or
be,
it's not
you'd
the
be a bishop
bishop
for
field.
decades, you know?
Like,
It's like
well,
a
it is
life
the mission
colony.
field, but, you know.
Does he have a lot of family in this area?
Yes.
Yeah.
How's
Is there
On
a
this,
state,
uh,
was it a
in
state
this
president or a councilor that was
neighborhood?
called in one of the new state sets of powers? And then I heard the power name again.
A couple times
For,
at
yeah,
our
a
state
few different
conference, yeah.
times, yeah.
Well, out in
But
that
you weren't
area,
there, so I
yeah.
decided you
His
weren't
family
maybe
is
close
from
to
Hooper.
it.
His dad's family, out in the Plain City, far away, you know.
But they're not from Oregon.
She went
No,
to the
it was
tri-state
Linnaeus.
thing today.
Oh.
From Oregon.
I was like, no. No, there's lots of flowers out in Hooper. Lots and lots of flowers.
Is he related to
Well, there's
Don
probably a lot
Flowers
of
that
them
has
in Plain City,
the car shop?
Yeah, but distantly. Everyone out there, the same pioneer who came over, we're all related to, but we don't know each other that well. There's a lot of them.
Need to
If
work
you
on
got to-
family
Oh, it's funny, I
closeness.
hear
They've
a lot of
lost
that's
touch
like
with
I
their
don't know
it's
how
like
many
the
days
trees
ago.
are.
But I rarely meet the
They
Barney.
said that Elder Holland said at the.
Do you ever meet Barneys?
What?
You hear
Oh,
about
it
people
just-
say, oh, you related to this
I'm
Barney or
hearing
that
about
Barney, but you never actually meet the Barney.
I met some Barneys up in Montana.
Did you?
It was so cool.
Good chance.
I heard you say you said something like, "Don't you ever," like very sternly or something.
He
Don't
did.
you dare.
He
What?
did.
Leave the church.
To the youth, he said, "Don't
Oh.
you dare
Who
leave the
said that?
church."
Elder Holland was at their tri-state thing today.
He said it. He said it sternly and with sort of a raised
love.
voice and shook his finger, and then he was really light after that.
He said, "You'll see me someday. You'll be
You'll
in
be in
some
a parked car."
in a parked car, yeah. And I'll point my finger at you. And say,
There's that wild man.
Don't do something stupid.
Yeah, don't do something stupid.
Yeah.
I love this.
Well, nowadays, you know, I would hate to be, in some ways, I would hate to be a youth in today's world because, you know,
I still am.
There was a certain, when we were growing up, a lot of our foibles and follies just, you know, went away. But now, you do one thing wrong, it can be captured on somebody's cell phone and perpetuated on the internet for who knows how long. And you know, it's not something you can repent of something or you know or forgive yourself for things, but society it's still going to be out there for society.
Yeah, when you try to become president.
These kids that send these photos of themselves to their friends, you know, and
Yeah.
you know they're doing things they're not realizing.
As Elder
as
Holland
such
said, just don't do stupid things.
Yeah, you just have to be a lot wiser than we had to be.
Well, he also made the comment that it's a good time. But how did you say it? That it's a good time for having children.
So
Which
not to
sometimes
be afraid.
That's
Not to be
good.
afraid.
Yeah, and he
So
said
it's a
during these
safe,
times.
this is a safe century to have kids.
That's what it was.
Why do you
Safe
think?
And he
century.
says,
Why do you
That's
think?
interesting.
Well, yeah, if you think about it, if we decided that it was an unsafe century for having children, then who's going to prepare the way for the...
I agree, but I just want to know what, I would like to hear.
I think it's safe because the
I
gospel will keep
Yeah.
any of us safe if we choose to, if we don't dare leave the church. Any,
Then there's never a wrong time to have children in this case.
Well, I agree that we're supposed to have children. I just,
I know, but I
like
just
I
wanna
it.
think
make
he
this-
just wanted to
this
reassure people
time
that
safer
despite
than
all the
private.
darkness.
And
Well,
he-
there's
yeah,
other
and-
times, like in the middle of the other times before they became the past, what was more safe then than now?
Excuse me?
Like for example, in the middle of what he's saying is like in the middle of the 50s. What made it inherently safer to have kids in the 50s?
Did you get that?
I did.
What made my high school days safer than today's high school days? Is that
I'm gonna need to
basically
watch
what
it,
you're
watch that
It's
over
on the
again.
road.
Should we rewind that and let David say it again?
My intellect is dizzying.
You know, what's safe then is not, it's relative in a way. Safe, you know,
Well,
there's danger and there's danger and there's danger.
Well, the thing is that each generation.
I'll tell you what, this is a deep conversation.
Each generation.
I'm gonna have to excuse myself. You guys are way young.
Each generation has been convinced that they wouldn't live to see the end.
that's, yeah. So
the
in the
second coming
50s,
would
they
come
were
before
in
they
the,
were older than
they were in
40.
bomb shelters.
And so
and-
In the 60s, they
Cold
were all
War,
free.
yeah.
yeah, because we're gonna die tomorrow anyway.
And
And
so
Well, I just think that's an interesting statement. I mean, I understand what you're saying
right.
You
from
do?
the standpoint of, you know, relatively speaking, is one, 30 years ago more or less safe for a teenager than today. But you think of the things that the societal pressures and norms of today would
Well-
be outlandish when I was 16.
The things
I was.
When I was 16.
Well, that was really
What
fascinating.
is, what is now
Having
stuff that's
a
on
gay straight alliance in a high school when I was in high school.
Do they have that here?
Well,
Yes,
it's
it's
debate. It's up for
becoming
debate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Another
maybe
thing
not
that they said that was
going.
really interesting and kind of gave grounds for hope was that it is a responsibility of the current generation to teach the following generation to be better than they are, and this is a great generation.
Yeah.
Well, I
he
have no
said
doubt.
that.
I look
Yeah,
He
at my
said
kids
that.
and
Yeah, one of the state president or patriarch said that too.
Sounds like it was really
You see
hard.
the thing,
It was
when I look at my kids and
Did
the
Nancy
worries
and
that we
Denny
have
any trouble
about
finding the DNA
my
center?
boys compared to
They
the
were a
worries my
little
parents
late,
have
but
about
they
me,
got
Well, they
there.
would be.
there's no
Because
comparison.
they left late.
Yeah, as far as I
And
know, they
so-
didn't
But
have any.
the means
They are the great
staying safe
generation.
from those dangers is still the same. The way to
The valiant
avoid getting into trouble
generation.
remains the
Still the
same.
same.
Saturday's
yes, there's no-
Warriors.
I think
But-
they are still.
Along Justin's lines, Mark and I have said this
I
many
think it's
times.
just this whole.
The things that I did when I was a teenager would end me in a halfway house nowadays.
Dear
You
Lord.
can't do
Not
anything.
halfway,
but
but a juvenile.
a juvenile detention.
Correction.
Juvenile.
You would be done if Bill Creed
So
went
the
down
What-
six.
so
what-
consequences.
Let me finish my point. The point is that kids, being kids nowadays, they're considered juvenile delinquents and out of control, and they get institutionalized for things that we did, and it was just kids being stupid kids, you know, 20, 30 years ago.
Their laws are bigger. Like toilet papering, you can actually go to jail.
Consequences
for.
are
You can?
a little bit
You
distorted.
can get if vandalism. If they
Leah.
can, yeah,
Doorbell
you.
ditching.
Leah, you and Mitch have
Criminal
almost gotten our
mischief.
children all landed in
I go TPing with my kids all the time.
They were one time
Don't
you guys
get caught,
they
okay,
were,
Leah?
no, listen. They were
People
jumping.
you like.
You and Mitch and the kids were jumping out at people at a rest stop too, right? Out in bushes.
Terrorizing children.
Can you imagine someone leaping out in the dark? You're at a rest stop and someone leaps
Well,
out of
do
a
something like
bush. What would that
nowadays,
do
you're
to
likely get
you?
shot for That's why I tell, I would never tailgate somebody and flash my lights at them and do the road rage thing, because you don't
Get
know,
shot.
someone could shoot you for
Heard
crying
of
out
that
loud.
kid that ran over your cone and drug it down the street? You could have been charged
Well,
for
I got
criminal
flipped off the
mischief.
other day.
You got what?
Well, whatever that is that they.
A what?
You got flipped off?
The one finger salute.
You did? Why?
It's amazing to me the age of people flipping me off these days.
You find it happens quite
Yeah, that happens to
regularly.
you quite frequently.
It's like, really? You have
Were
at least an
you
18 or
driving
22-year-old
slow or
daughter,
something?
and you're flipping me the bird. And you wonder where the nation's going.
So David, what is it that you do?
Well,
It's out of
when they
control.
finally pass me, I do this. And then they don't know what to do.
What does that mean?
It's call me.
Call me.
Okay. I would be all.
Slow down.
So I was on my way to a women's retreat that our ward had, and I had stuff tied up on the top, our sleeping bags and stuff, and I had a friend with me, and we're driving along, and this guy is passing me, and he's like talking to me, and I'm thinking, he's flirting with me. I'm so embarrassed.
He was cussing you out, probably.
And he just kept riding next to me.
Is this in Washington?
Yeah. And then, I don't know how many miles later, I realized I was losing my sleeping bags.
Don't do that!
Why would you look at me?
Did you keep flashing the ring?
Oh, you! Those rings are important. I had mine off like I have today because I was doing construction. It was last year when I was working on the building, the office building, and I went to church and was trying to gather my kids, and my good friend's father-in-law was there.
Who's single?
Who was single. and afterwards she told me, my father-in-law really got the hots for you. And it shocked me. I thought, I've never been attracted to anybody. That was 50-year-old man.
Oh no!
I really
Keep
be
that ring
careful.
on.
Yeah, I know. I'm just put it off now.
Oh dear. Oh,
That's scary. Protection.
You almost lost her, Artie.
Almost.
Almost. It was really, really close.
And Artie's all, shoo.
That was just shocking. It was like, nobody was like.
We actually got mooned. I've never in my life been mooned driving down the. I was trying. You know how some people will get in the fast lane and you'll be trapped because there's a slow car in the slow lane and a slow car in the fast lane. So I'm behind a slow car in the fast lane, and finally he like gets past the slow car so that I can go in the slow lane, and then go back in the fast lane to get past the next slow car. Evidently I offended him in the process. So then then I get back in the slow lane after I pass, and he comes up beside me and blocks me in again. So then again I have an opportunity to get out of there and get around again, so I do. And comes right up beside me again, and Chandler's kind of stressed because she's worried we'll get shot or something. And I was trying to speed up so he couldn't catch up to me, and he sped up beside me. And it was two guys, and I hadn't even looked at the drivers. I was trying to avoid that, making any kind of eye contact or something, so they didn't think it was personal. They're just obnoxious. So then Chandler says, "Mom, don't look." And I thought, immediately I'm thinking, well, what do you think I'm going to do? Flip a wall or something? Why? So I look and it was dark, and I was like, what is that? Because it wasn't obvious to me. Anyway, I was like, or Chandler said, "Mom, really?" Anyway, it was, yeah.
Oh, you I was wondering how the driver moved you. I thought you was a driver.
No, we were driving from Miss to Redmond, and at the time it was.
My neighbor actually went to court over someone doing something like that.
I'm gonna have to edit my video, or it's gonna be rated something.
It scared me. I thought, wow, they're psycho. Cause
What was that guy on the train on the Heber Creeper?
That's creepy.
We were on the.
Yeah.
We're on the
Yeah, if my
Heber
daughter was with you,
Creeper.
that made me even madder.
We won't get into mooning.
Well, that's a scout thing, okay?
That's one of the things he would have got thrown into
That's another
part.
I thought maybe somebody had traumatized you too.
Maybe that was John in the car.
What is it about driving that people take it so personally? Why is it suddenly become?
I know. You can walk past them in a store and they'll be nice.
Well, I think it's because a car is it's an extension of your personality in so many ways.
No, I don't want to go in there.
Everything from the color to the kind of car we choose is a reflection of our personality. When we get into the car, we've all of a sudden augmented our personal space.
Hand-me-down personality.
And at the same time, we're more anonymous in our interactions with each other. So we're doing these two conflicting things. We have this mask on, and it's a very personal space. So we're able to be ourselves, and yet no one around us knows it's us.
Yeah.
And it allows
I
for.
think people are idiots in cars.
So our true selves are idiots, huh?
Sometimes.
Well, I was going to say about Aaron's comment that the same things that, this is like totally going back to the previous conversation, but the same things that are there to keep us safe as were there before, I think actually that there are more resources now. We have the same, we have the scriptures, we have the living prophet, but I think that just as Satan seems to advance his warfare, that spiritually speaking there's more protections too.
That's true.
Which is partly I think why Jeffrey Holland could say it's a safe century for having children.
Well, what comes to mind is when Elder Eyring spoke to our state conference, and he says that.
Elder Eyring spoke at our state conference.
Didn't he?
Which one?
Elder Eyring.
The last one?
Conference.
The last one?
The one where I thought it was him.
Somebody.
Anyway, one of those guys. that there are tools that the Lord is revealing to earth today that will match up with Satan's tools that are coming, that are being put in place. It's heightening, but our side isn't any less prepared. You know, it's and I think the people who are the youth that is coming really have been saved for these last days, and they're going to have special gifts given to them. If they don't now, they will, and it is an exciting time to be born and time to be.
Well, I think part of the
here.
comment would probably be because more so now than ever, people are afraid to have children, and they need reassurance that
their kids will be
it's okay to have kids.
To have faith.
You probably hear that more than you've ever heard it ever before. Is why would I bring a child into this world?
Well, yeah, with
not
the
only
economy
are they
and
afraid to,
Well, he
they're
said too, he
inconvenienced
said
by it. Like
these
what
are
Elder
tough
Oaks talked
economical
about,
times, but
meeting those
they
people on the
always
plane that
have
said,
been
we'd rather
tough.
have a dog because the dogs
That's
never
true.
talk
And
back.
if you read, if you go through history.
Yeah.
I often don't.
I loved how reassuring he was
I'd
and
love
how
to have heard
unafraid
that.
he was.
Well, and I
Did you burp?
I've
Well,
had
who
lots of
did? I heard
conversations with kids about my kids just because I'm afraid. If it's as bad as this now, you know, it's going to be like an airplane we have children. You know. So I really would. I love reassurance.
It wasn't me, it was you.
It was your dog.
It's like,
now.
it's like watching two students go at it in junior high.
You know the real funny thing? It was me.
Wow, you're pretty loud then.
Ventriloquist Rose's burps.
Just be sure to kiss the air afterwards so they know that you're of a kindly disposition.
You know, David, you might get shot.
I've wondered about it a time or two. So far, it's only ended in bafflement.
It might buy you those couple seconds. Of
Does
time
this
to get
happen
out
to
of
you
here.
regularly?
I have been threatened in California, and so it's given me plenty of time to ponder how I respond.
Really? Well,
an
everybody should
accident
just
where-
move to
If that
Brigham
happens to
City.
you a
It's
lot,
really
you might
safe
wanna
there.
No, just
on
the
your
one
driving
time.
habits.
It's never happened since. I've been kind of wondering what it would take to instigate it again, but
Turn them that way.
Just the wrong.
Little Willie.
Wait, okay, where did you get this from?
Grandpa Compton used to say this to us, you know, sitting on the chair, stroking your hair. Sarah, little
Grandpa Compton would say
Little
this?
Willie, decked with bows and sashes, fell in the fire and burned to ashes.
That's not gonna be able to do it.
When the room grew chilly, no one bothered to stir Little Willie. You really never heard
That's such a sweet song.
Mom tells a whole bunch
It's a
more.
nursery rhyme for little girls, I guess.
Yeah, I don't remember stories like that from Grandpa.
Oh, he had all these funny little stories.
the moral of the story is don't dress your boy in bows.
That's where it took a left turn.
he knew like 100 verses to "Oh My Darling Clementine." I mean, he could go on and on and on. And
I want to know some of those. Does anyone remember?
Where's Mom? She needs to come in. She knows a lot of these little stories.
Mom bought the graduating seniors hooey sticks
oh,
for their
cool.
Found them
graduation
at the Oregon
presents.
Trail Museum.
You remember hooey sticks?
Yeah, what a cool
But
We
they
still
don't
have
look quite the
pieces of
same
a
as
couple.
they used to.
Yeah, we still have pieces of a
They
couple.
had like a wood block propeller instead of.
When we went
These ones
when
do, yeah.
when we went to Nauvoo last summer, they had a little display of artifacts and stuff, and there was little toys of that time period or whatever, and they had some hooey sticks right there. I picked up.
So that's not.
I was an old pro. Just
He made a version of it, but
I
it's
think
been
what
around
he
for
did-
no, it's an old Indian toy that's been. At least that was what I remember him saying. Is it was something that he got from the
I think
Indians.
what he realized was that no one had ever taken a patent out on it or something, and so he
Tried to mass
made a
market
version
it
of
or
it,
anything like that.
And
What was
maybe-
his
and maybe
connection
he
to
yelled,
silly
"You-"
sand? Didn't
He
he?
invented
He
it.
Yeah,
Did
he-
he invent it or sell it?
No,
Invented
he
it?
invented it.
As far as I know, he invented it. I was very, 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 very young.
Mark,
says
yell
he
at Mom.
invented it.
She'll tell you
What's
the
silly
whole
sound?
story of the. Yell at Mom.
I can tell you that before I ever met
Silly
anyone in
song.
this family, when I was a teenager, 12 or 14 years old, I became familiar with the bumbleberry story down in Zion National Park. I knew about bumbleberry before I ever met Sarah.
I didn't know it was St. George.
That was the original one, I think.
It's down in Springdale.
Yeah, in Springdale.
Yeah, as you're going into Zion.
And if you go there now, they still have the placemats. Well,
Is there still a Bumbleberries restaurant?
Last
Yeah,
time
it was. This would have been in the. This would have been in the late '80s when we went there.
I was in that area not
we
too long
ordered the bumbleberry pie, and they came out on the placemats with the story of all the different berries that.
I went there after we were married. We went there, so that was mid-90s.
Yeah, it's something that we thought was cute.
There was a
and then kind
caricature of my
forget
dad
about
on
it,
the
and then I meet
placemat
her,
still.
and she tells me the story about her grandpa, and I thought,
Hey,
oh,
Alice. Do you know where Nora is? Can you find her for me?
She was outside playing with Anne just a minute ago.
Really?
Yeah. She's fine. I don't know.
We used to make hot. We'll get up for a while.
And there they are. There's Daniel. And Alice.
This is Cheryl. This is Cheryl's beautiful, beautiful new floor. She finished just before we came on this trip. She did a super, super job. Isn't that pretty? And here is little Joseph eating his pancakes at Aunt Cheryl's house. Hi. Hi there, Joseph. Is that good pancakes?
That's a really dirty
Yum.
shirt. I gotta get some.
Dog. Here's Annie playing with her new little dog, Hobbs.
It's fine, it's fine. Hey, Grandma, give me the camera real quick.
No. And here's the whole crowd up here, and there goes Char off onto the trampoline. Hello, Charlotte. Hello, Corey, Abby. Hi, Miriam up at the top. Oh, guys, be careful. Has Corey ever been up there before?
Yes, she's up.
Here's the pit. And there is Char conquering the world at the top. Yay for Char.
Here is a pretty rainbow.
The mighty superhero with his facing the wind. Strong and tall. The very nature of the wind changing. Abby! Kurt, I think. No. Wait. Where am I going? I'm blind! There's a cliff there. Going the wrong way.
Okay, that's end of scene 1.
Superhero dangling.
Jump a clothesline.
Jump as high as you can.
No, onto the ground.
Okay.
He punched you into a wall. Get against the couch. What's going on out my window? Okay. Ow! What? There's someone there! Huh. What do you think you're doing in my wall? Get out!
Corey's early birthday present.
Corey, open it.
Grandma.
Tear it open. Tear it. Rip it.
on her. Here, a second.
It's not as fun as it was because there were bigger splashes.
So it lost some water already then.
What?
What?
I love you.
Oh, I love you too. Sorry, I thought the water would stay up.
Anyway, I need to do some filming for another video. Really bad. So we might as well, right?
We just irrigated in our backyard. I just pulled the plug on it. but there's water all over in the backyard. Okay. Wow, that's really good. Okay.
Hello, Daddy. Dad, watch this.
Oh, hello, Corey.
Daddy! Daddy, watch this. Daddy!
I'm watching.
1, 2, 3. And I want to watch. I want to show you something else. A 1. Oh, that wasn't it. A 1. A 2. A 3. A 4. I'm worn out. But not really. I want to show my hands, Dad.
Okay.
What's the film?
Oh my goodness.
That's a kind of somersault.
This is Alice Mary Compton. August 11th, 2009.
Larry, what are you doing in the way? Mom. Ah! Huh? Hey, Dad, look at the sunflower.
Yep. There's a sunflower.
Yep. Ah. I love it.
Just making sure.
Okay, good. Just wondering. Okay. See you later. Yes, we're actually getting closer.
Okay.
The first half of the movie is all about us losing.
They're homemade.
We
have nice ones.
Nice save.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, but see what happens if you hit it's too hard. Yeah.
Oh! Oh dear.
Okay.
I would pass it out and
sorry.
oh dear. Too far.
Oh!
Oh, man. Come through.
Just keep it running.
Okay. And if some of the young men want to come and do like layups and look up at the camera, that might be kind of cool. That looked like that could be a cool shot.
Come on. Go in. Oh. It's so hard. Oh!
Nice.
Sweet.
Okay. That's probably good enough. Go. Go.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that guy in the Aaronic priesthood?
Yeah, I hear he's a deacon.
I got him, he's mine. I got him, he's mine. I got him, he's mine.
Go. Hey, Peter! And here's this lovely valley again that we've been skiing in. It's the end of the day. The sun's going down. It's been a fun day. Okay. I'm just gonna record up the mountain, and Peter should be getting off the lift really soon, and hopefully we'll film here. It's hard to, this is a shorter lift. The top is just right up there. I've got some of the lights on for night skiing, and let's see. I don't see him yet. Well, I think I see him with my eyes. I don't know if I got him on the camera or not. Let's see. That's got to be him right there. There he is. in all his glory, flying down the mountain. And whizzed right on by. But it's time to go home.
He always wants to do what we're doing, Brent said. Why can't you go away? Brent, please be nice, sister. She just wants to spend time with you. Mom said, but Mom, she always wants to tag along. Can't she do something else for a while? How about if we call her together, Lindsay? Mom asked. Thanks, Mom. Brent said as he started back up the stairs. Don't forget, Brent. Mom called after you and Clint have practice for the Christmas program in less than an hour. Okay, Mom, Brent replied. Mommy, why doesn't Brent like me? Must be Brent. And his friend Grant is over playing.
Mm-hmm.
He don't want his little sister to play too.
You see me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why doesn't Brent like me? Lindsay asked, tears forming in her eyes. He does like you, Mom said. But sometimes he wants to be with his friends.
You see me playing what's it for?
A while later, I took Brent and Clint to the church just for the show program. Brent was excited. He was going to play Joseph this year. Before, he'd always been a
Here's Corey.
shepherd or a wise man. That was neat, but this year would be the best. Okay, we're going to practice. The scene at the Brother Mitchell said, Joseph and Mary, take your place. Innkeeper is time. When are they coming, Dad? Right now?
2 minutes.
The primary children hurried
I know. They should have been here 2 minutes ago.
Room that we can stay the night, Brent asked. My wife is going to have a baby very soon. She needs a place to rest. Sorry, there's no room, the innkeeper said. Come on, Mary. Let's try another place, Brent said. They walked to the next innkeeper. Hello, sir. We've come a long way. My wife's going to have a baby very soon.
Sign her up for the soccer game, huh?
No, we're all full. There's no room. Then the next. The answer is always the same. There's no room. No room. No room. I'm so sorry, Mary, Brent said. Let's try this one last place. He turned and knocked on the door. Sir, we're very far from home. There's no place to do it. My wife is going to have a baby very soon.
Turn it around, Peter. Peter's drawing one of his first pictures of a dog. Oh, a little tape thing. I must be running out of tape.
Sad. I'm sorry, Mary, Brent again. I don't know what.
You're my puppy, and you have to jump through the gate.
Maybe I have a place after all. Come with me. Then for a stable with cows and sheep and other animals.
Okay, Ann, don't choke her.
Like, this is wonderful, Brent said. Great. Thank you very, very much. A few days later, Brent, they were playing in a it was protected them from invaders.